You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season number 3 and episode number 56 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. And for some reason, I have absolutely no notes anymore. They just vanished. There we go. Wow, our computers are being really weird today, Mr. Grizzly. Season 3 and episode number 56 of the Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Monday, February 13th, 2023, pre-Valentine's Day and post-Super Bowl hangover day. And it looks like it will be a mix of sun and clouds, and once again temperatures above zero in February here at the Beaver Lodge. I am disturbed. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A, and as with me, as always, I should say, is my dear friend, my brother, my constant companion in this endeavor, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Today we have a Monday morning Beaver Bite for you. But first, hello, Mr. Grizzly. How's your mental health today? And how was the game?
Hey, Mr. Beaver. Mental health, the jury's still out on that one. Doing better than it was yesterday, so that's an improvement. Game was entertaining from start to finish. Yeah, no, it was a good game. Now there's a lot of people screaming about the refs decided it. I'm kind of like, no, I think Patrick Mahomes kind of did by taking his team from down by 24 points to bringing it back and winning the whole damn thing.
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it. Yeah.
Particularly liked Rihanna's performance with the floating stages. I thought that was pretty amazing. And so apparently she's pregnant.
Yes. Well, that was the whole thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I keep on joking to everyone. It's like, well, yes, there's this Rihanna concert going on tonight. And there's I heard that there's some activities before and after, but there's a Rihanna concert going on tonight. And lots of men with very tight pants, which always makes me very happy.
The players. I'm like, what? Where? I don't remember that during the show. Players.
No, the men were dressed in pretty bulky, loose stuff, actually, for the show. So, yeah, I was watching it and I'm thinking, okay, I love the stages and they're all up there. And then I'm thinking, well, I would not be doing that because that's way too high. And I did see the little white thing that has the hook, hooking them to the platform.
Yeah, they all had safety harnesses.
They all had safety things. So I saw that. And then I'm
Want to
watching the
toggle your
show.
echo? I'm getting an echo. Toggle your
Oh,
echo
okay. Yeah, I will do that. I did forget to do that this morning. Hold on.
because I'm
Oops,
getting
that's
an
mirror
echo.
camera. That's not the echo. There we. That better?
Much better. Much better.
Okay. All right. So I'm watching the show and I'm loving all of it. But then at one point I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay. Well, the first thing I heard was someone saying, well, Rihanna's no Beyonce. And I was like, sorry. First, don't make me choose among my queens. That ain't going to happen. So I love her and she's up there and she's doing her thing and she's killing it. And I'm sitting there, but where
Is
are
that
the
a
guest
bump?
performers? And
No, it was just her.
No, yeah, where are the guest performers? And then where are all the projections? And then where are all the technical things? And then where are all the costume changes? Because there's usually like 5 or 6 costume changes for 13. And then I'm going, where's Pond de Replay and where's SOS? Like her first 2 big hits. And I'm sitting there like this and I'm watching it and I'm liking it, but I'm being a little disappointed until I see all the chatter going, is that a bump? Is that a bump? And then after the whole show, she confirmed that, yes, she's pregnant again. And I mean, she just delivered a baby 9 months ago. So then I'm thinking, okay, well, if you delivered a baby 9 months ago, maybe you don't have like 300 hours for rehearsal and to think of pyrotechnics and projections and what. You've got a mouth to feed.
Well, and the floating stages was a really cool effect. I've not seen that before, and
That was really cool.
That was done by Tait, Tait. They're in like IATSE people know what I'm talking about. They're a brilliant company out of the U.S. Them and Stageco basically invented modern rock shows. Period.
Yeah. And when you have that spider camera, you had that thing where the stages were all the floating stages were set. They looked like they were stairs going up, even though they were already maybe like 25 feet in the air, 30 feet in the air. So it's just like, wow. So I was at first, my first instinct was to be a tiny bit disappointed because I didn't get all the bling and blam. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, wait a minute, you're feeding a mouth and you're pregnant. Okay, well, now I understand. Considering that you delivered something pretty damn frickin' amazing. So I'm a happy beaver, and for the first time ever in my life, like I did for the World Cup, I actually watched the match.
Oh, you watched the whole game? Really? Wow.
Well, you have to understand that this network is a bit of a sausage fest. And I want to fit in. So I figured everybody would be talking about it. So I figured I should at least watch it.
We do need more women.
Yes. And like as was the case for the World Cup final, which was the first one I ever watched, I picked a damn good year.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a game.
Yeah. Really on paper, they were saying before the match that it was probably the closest one that there would ever be.
Yeah.
That there would be in years based on what was on paper. It was the tightest, the 2 teams that were closest in abilities in the longest time. And then the Super Bowl match was making history for many reasons because you had brothers on competing teams. I believe it was the Kelsey brothers.
Yep.
I believe. Yep. And then you have, for the first time ever, right? We're talking about what, Super Bowl 57 now?
57, yeah.
57. For the first time ever, the 2 starting quarterbacks on the competing teams were black.
Mm-hmm. Well, they still are.
Well, yes, still black. But I'm talking in the past when they were starting. And the thing is this is significant because in the United States, many times, I mean, that's one of the reasons why a lot of black players came to the CFL, particularly quarterbacks, is because in the United States, they wouldn't let them play. They didn't trust the mental ability of the black man working the field for the white owner to be able to call plays.
Yeah.
So still in 2023, we're having firsts like this, which in one way blows my mind, but in another way, I'm at least happy that it's happening. So that was kind of big. So, of course, the Chiefs came from behind to win the match 38-35, very close.
Brilliant clock management at the end, though.
At the end, yes.
A minute 45 left, and he can walk in, score the touchdown. No, I'll go down on the 1.
Yes,
because we got to wind the clock down. So because
break down the 3 downs, because you don't want you can score touchdown in a minute if you have a good run.
Yeah,
you don't want to leave that much time on the clock.
Yeah, all they had to do was it was brilliant play. It was
Really
brilliant
like,
intelligence of the receiver to drop at the one
yeah.
and not score the touchdown, because if you score then, that gives them almost 2 minutes to come back, and the way Philly was playing, they would have.
They would have. Yeah, they were playing really well. So yeah, that I thought that was very intelligent as well at the end. And of course, all the pressure then goes to the kicker at the end because
Yeah.
you have to make the field goal to cinch it.
And
To
after
clinch it.
he had missed one earlier in the game. Now he had the distance because
Yes,
he hit it on the
it
top of the
hit the
like
post
at the very top, right?
from
So
42 yards
yeah, so
too,
that was
right?
a monster kick,
Yeah,
but unfortunately it just wasn't straight. But that was
yeah,
a chip shot for him, so
yeah.
it was pretty
So
much a gimme.
yeah. So this is Kansas City's fifth Super Bowl in history. Not fifth Super Bowl title, but fifth Super Bowl appearance, winning twice in 1970, 2020, and now this year. So second time in about 4 years and
Yeah.
third time in 4 years that they've appeared in the final. So the Kansas City Chiefs are a bit of a dynasty. As for the Philadelphia Eagles, this was their fourth Super Bowl appearance with only one win in 2018. Let's see what else is there. The quarterbacks were starting quarterbacks were Patrick Mahomes for
Mahomes.
Kansas City. Yeah,
Mahomes.
Mahomes, sorry, and Jalen Hurts for Philadelphia. Devontae Smith had a really good match. He played really well, made some very interesting catches, and in the last quarter, he actually went out of bounds with 1 yard left to go.
Yeah.
On amazing, which would have been an amazing touchdown, but they converted after, so that was good. He caught Jalen Hurts caught 3 touchdowns, so
Yeah.
threw for 3 touchdowns. Sorry, not caught. Uh, he's the quarterback, and had some pretty good runs as well. Particularly in that fourth quarter when he had busted his ankle already, gave a little bit of Kerry Strug energy there. Went about 40 yards on that one.
I think it was about 40, somewhere in
Yeah,
that neighborhood.
46 or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, geez. And then Dallas Goedert from the Eagles had impressed me. He had made started making some very key receptions in the second half. And he had 6 in total with about 11 minutes left for about 60 yards, but at key moments. So that was kind of cool. And I had to, of course, because, being of the persuasion that I am, there's a couple of people had to go look on the internet that Mr. Kelsey is a pretty handsome dude.
Which one? Which one? There's
The
two,
one from
right?
the Chiefs. I don't. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know their first. Travis, I believe his first name
Yeah.
was. So yeah, I have to admit that I paused the game a couple of times to do some Google searching. And go, who's that cutie?
Not surprised.
And of course, the match attracted lots of celebrities. Chef Gordon Ramsay was there. LeBron James was there. Jay Z was there. Floyd Mayweather was there. Paul McCartney was there, and another queen, Adele.
Yes, she was.
Yes. So it was a good time. It was a good time. I have to admit, I loved the game. The only thing that would have made it better, I think, was if I was with a crowd of buds. But maybe next year.
Well, you
Maybe
never
next
know.
year or a Grey Cup. That's one of these things that I keep on mentioning to you is that I do enjoy sports. I typically don't watch the big four all that much, but I do enjoy them. But I don't have many other gay friends that do, and most of my straight friends don't think of me when they throw the parties because I don't watch them regularly.
Which is, kind of, it's sort of like there are a lot of gay men that play in national football,
Mhm.
Major League Baseball, NHL, and NBA. Most of them live below the radar.
Yep.
A lot have decided to come forward, and the leagues are supporting them. There's still a lot of stigma involved, but it's the times are changing. Thank goodness.
Yes. Yes.
Like I
So,
thought it was poignant a few years back. I'm just going to go back a
okay,
little bit here.
please.
A few years back when Montreal had drafted. I can see his face. I can't think of his name, but he was the first openly gay player in the NFL. Then he played, but he never played it down in the league. He was just he
Yes.
got cut, and then
Yes.
Montreal signed him, and he played for Montreal. And the very first game he played in was here in Ottawa. And I thought how poignant that Montreal's breaking the barrier again, as they did with Jackie
Baseball.
Robinson.
Yeah.
In baseball, they did it with. Would you call it what barrier would you call this? Because he was
Call it
both
the color barrier.
A color barrier? Well, he's a
That's
black
what they were
man.
calling it back in the day, yeah, the color barrier.
Yeah, but I mean today, what would you call it? The sexual barrier? Because he was an out gay man playing professional football for the Montreal Alouettes.
Yeah,
And
I don't know
it
what
was
the term
just,
they use
yeah,
for that ceiling or the
he
barrier.
broke another barrier, though, is what he did. Openly out in a loving
Nassib
relationship.
is his name.
Pardon?
Carl Nassib is his name.
No, that's not who I'm referring to.
Oh, okay.
No, that's
oh
not
no,
who I
because
mean.
he did play in an NFL game, so it's before that. Yeah. Okay.
I can see his face and I can hear his name, but I can't say it right now. Anyway, I just thought I was poignant that Montreal broke, the color barrier with Jackie Robinson, and they broke the sexual barrier with this gentleman's play. And
Michael Sam.
Thank you, Michael Sam. Yes. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, on to other things. Let's get off sports for a minute and talk about something that, look, there's so much in the news this past few days. It was ridiculous.
Holy crap.
Like, just trying to keep on top of things is unbelievable.
I could not.
I know there's so much. So I just want to focus myself. I'm going to personally focus on one thing and one thing alone.
Yeah.
Right now, real quick. And I'm going to be as quickly as I can with this. And this goes back to greed, profit at any cost, and removing gatekeepers. Are you familiar with what happened in Palestine, Ohio this past weekend?
No, I'm not.
Let me just pull some of these graphics down so we can read this entire thing here.
Yes.
The train derailment. Effective oversight and large self-monitoring industry that has cut the nation's rail workforce to the bone in recent years as it puts record profits over safety is responsible for the wreck, said Ron Kaminikow, an Amtrak locomotive engineer and former Norfolk Southern freight engineer. The Palestine wreck is the tip of the iceberg and a red flag, said Kaminikow, who is secretary for the Railroad Workers United, a non-profit labor group that coordinates with the nation's rail unions. If something is not done, then it's going to get worse, and the next derailment could be cataclysmic. About 4.5 million tons of toxic chemicals are shipped by rail each year, and an average of 12,000 rail cars carrying hazardous materials pass through cities and towns each day. This is what happens when you remove gatekeepers. I'm not joking. Shades of Lake Megantic. Let's look into this further. The Pittsburgh region alone has seen 8 train derailments over the last 5 years. According to the public health advocacy group, Rail Pollution Protection Pittsburgh, and about 1,700 annually occur nationally. The causes of the Pittsburgh accidents highlighted the myriad ways in which things can go wrong. A crack in a track ignored by rail companies caused a 2018 derailment, while another train hit a dump truck at a crossing with inadequate safety equipment. A broken axle on a train car is thought to be the source of the East Palestine accident. The railroads are playing Russian roulette with Pittsburgh. We are a prime candidate for a major derailment and explosion. Still, the U.S. Transportation Department in 2020 approved a rule to allow liquefied natural gas, or LNG, to be shipped via rail with no additional safety regulations.
It's like they don't get the news.
They don't get the news. Trains can now run 100 or more tank cars filled with 30,000 gallons of the substance, largely from shale fields to saltwater ports. The decision was opposed by local leaders, unions, fire departments, and the NTSB. Now,
that's the National Transportation Safety Board, and still they did it anyway.
The trains can now run 100 or more tank cars filled with 30,000 gallons of the substance. Look at this. 22 train tank cars filled with liquefied natural gas hold the same amount of energy as the Hiroshima bomb. A coalition of environmental groups wrote in comments to regulators opposing the LNG rail rule change in 2020. This is raising fears of a catastrophe if a proposed LNG port is built in New Jersey, which could take shipments from 100-car trains daily, would run through nearby Metro Philly. So 22 equal Hiroshima, and they're allowed to carry 100.
Wow. That's insane.
And then you have
and
people
they know
saying,
what can happen.
They know what can happen. They don't care. Profit at any margin, at any cost. As long as they're increasing the profit for the shareholders, they don't give a shit. They don't care.
We will be reporting on something as a result of this down the road.
Yes.
We will be.
We'll have another Lac Megantic.
Twice a day, an opportunity for something to happen on things that trains that are not manned, not properly staffed, not
on unfailing and crumbling infrastructure.
Yep.
The NTSB says don't do it. We're doing it anyway. Why? Because somebody somebody lobbied the government to get them to reduce regulations. This is what removal of gatekeepers gets you.
When they
Gatekeepers are there for a reason.
When they say remove regulations, you as a citizen must hear removing public safety protections.
Because that's what it is. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was reading about this last night. I was enraged because it's going to continue to happen. That the reason Lac Megantic happened, cutbacks.
By 50, they cut the staff by 50% from 2 to 1 on trains that had manual brakes on them.
Exactly.
After a long shift, it took about 2 hours to do all the trains from.
And they were at the end of a 12-hour shift, I think.
At the end of a 12, yeah. Come on, come the F on.
It's just because they want to increase their profit margin. Shareholders need to get an increased dividend check each quarter, and if they don't see it, they scream bloody murder. Well, when you start killing people.
Scream.
Well, and what was released in that accident in Palestine? Phosgene and vinyl chloride gas.
Oh, God. What
was phosgene? That was used in World War I. Yeah. They're saying, it's safe to go back. Meanwhile, they're looking in brooks and lakes and ponds, and all the fish are dead.
Of course,
animals are dying left, right, and center.
It's safe to go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like anybody cares about them.
It's not safe. It's an airborne toxic event. And so will people die right away? No. Chickens are dying 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days later. Dogs, deer, things that you see in the natural forest, they'll start dying shortly too. Humans will start dying over the next couple of years when they develop strange forms of cancer. And again, because it's a 100% capitalist society, they don't care. They're not paying for your health insurance.
Because when the people start dying in cancer, then they hire all the lawyers and they keep you taken up in court for 20 years, and then you never get anything.
You never get anything.
Because you'll die first.
This is not the first time this has happened, and it won't be the last. And this is why you have to vote against anything and everything that little shit Pierre Poilievre says, because you will get a system just like that if he ever becomes prime minister. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
Tell me I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
I'm not wrong.
Can't do that. Ah, man, we have a lovely bunch of kits. I was going to say lovely bunch of coconuts. lovely bunch of kits joining us today. Good morning, Kit Sassy. Good morning, Kit Pete. And good night, because you're leaving us where you are down under. So you need to go to bed. Get some rest, my friend. Good morning, Kit Kath needs a stickers. Kit Linda M, Kit Elaine, Kit Lazy Sunday with Wade and Doe, who took the day off yesterday to not compete with the Super Bowl because, they get all the numbers. So, they had to make sure that people were available to watch the Super Bowl. So they'll be on another show next week. So if you were looking for it and missed it, that's what happened. Good morning, Kit Ellen. Good morning. Did I catch everyone? I think I did so far.
South Stands TFC.
Oh, South Stands T. Yep. There you are. Good morning to you, dear friend. Lovely for you to join us. So yeah, and then in the news, there was a whole bunch of other things. First of all, we've had 3 other objects shot down since we last did our show. We found out that the mayor of Toronto is sleeping in the bathtub tonight.
Yeah.
And he's kind of resigned, sort of, not really yet.
Yeah, no, he resigned.
He hasn't given a date yet.
Apparently. Oh no, he said he was resigning on Friday. When the date is, I don't know.
But he hasn't given the date yet.
Now, is that a distraction?
You have to remember about this type of thing, because remember in the United States they had that Senator Larry Craig, the guy that was in the airport with the wide stance.
I'm not gay. I never have been gay. That guy, the wide stance.
And then he said, "I intend to resign," and then he just never got around to it. Yeah, just like Andrew Scheer intended to, renounce his U.S. citizenship, but he didn't win the prime ministership, so he never actually got around to it.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. So you got to take that one with it. As I'm when it comes to politicians, particularly conservative politicians, saying that they're going to do something, particularly when it comes to saying they're going to do something ethical, I believe it when it lasts.
Yeah.
Not only when it happens, but when it lasts. And then on top of John Tory being a man behaving badly, then we found out sometime during the weekend that Premier Ford Edsel truly went all out for his daughter's wedding, just not for her benefit.
No.
Father of the year. He had his little precious get married, and he decided to use it like a good mafia boss would as a business networking opportunity.
Seeking donations.
Because I'm sure all those developers that were there to contribute to his daughter's wedding fund so she and her husband can get a good start in life were very, very deep, close, personal friends of his daughter and part of her bridal party.
Yep. So is the John Tory story a distraction from this? I mean, look, that's a conspiracy theory to say that. I realize that, but a lot of people are asking that question. I'm like, you know what? It's not an illegitimate question. It's just strange timing, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Who knows with this guy, right?
Because this story about this wedding thing that's like 6 months old, but it's just coming out now.
Yeah.
Because this happened last summer.
Yeah.
It's just coming to light now. So it's like, But what was it? Which board reviewed it and said, no, we find no improprieties. Oh, yeah.
The integrity commissioner.
Integrity commissioner, right?
Apparently.
Apparently.
decided apparently, no, because this one's an apparently. This one is an apparently. Decided that he had no problem with that, right? You have Doug Ford going around saying, oh, the integrity commissioner cleared this 1,000%. Right now, number one, when somebody starts talking about things that happen in the 1,000%, when you only know that there's 100, you know that they are overselling like freaking crazy. That's like Blanchet the other day saying that there's no society on the entire continent or Quebec.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
When people go into those superlatives so damn big that they are ridiculous, they're peddling. Picture a duck on the water. The feet are going.
Everything's come above.
Yeah. Or as we say in French, "Pets in, baby, pets in." Skate, skate, skate.
Skate, yeah.
So, yes, apparently the integrity commissioner cleared it 1,000%. There is just one tiny little problem with that, unfortunately. It appears that integrity commissioner, how would you say, seems to have a certain Mary Dawson disease. She was the ethics commissioner appointed by Harper for 10 years, and for some reason, even though he pleaded guilty in court to stealing the first election and then trying to keep the money, and then all the other things that he did along the way, was never once found in an ethical violation, despite all the times his government was taken to court, charged, tried, and sometimes even found guilty. And people went to jail.
Works, eh?
We had a cabinet minister go to jail, but yet he was not found by Mary Dawson to have violated the ethics code.
Totally fine.
You'd think someone that went to jail violated the ethics code somewhere along the way. And then before her 10 years were out, well, then she did find one ethics violation, but that was when Prime Minister Trudeau was the Prime Minister and he took the Christmas vacation to the Aga Khan Island. Then she finally found an ethics violation that she could point out. This guy here, I believe his name is David Ware or David Whale. Well, he investigated people before, and seems like he might be a guy who phones it in.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. According to Democracy Watch, this is something in 2021. Now, this integrity commissioner was put in place by Kathleen Wynne's government or Dalton McGuinty. It was in 2016. Doug Ford came into power 2018 and was renewed He was renewed in 2021. So he's not initially a Ford appointment. So not initially
2022.
He was reappointed in 21, I believe.
Oh, was okay. Okay.
The
I thought it was
integrity
2010.
commissioner. The integrity commissioner.
Oh, right.
Yes, was reappointed.
Yes.
So the reappointment is a Ford appointment, but the initial appointment was not. Democracy Watch sued the integrity commissioner for failing to penalize 6 of 7 lobbyists who violated the law in serious ways in 2020.
Well,
So, yes. So it says in the press release, this was from March 4th, 2021. Today, Democracy Watch announced that it has filed 6 applications in Ontario's Divisional Court challenging rulings by Ontario Integrity Commissioner J. David Wake that failed to penalize 6 lobbyists who violated Ontario's lobbying law in serious ways, mainly by failing to register and disclose their lobbying for a year or more. The commissioner has failed to penalize 23 of 27 lobbyists, 85%, who have violated the law since 2018.
87, you say?
Pardon?
87?
85%.
Oh, 85%. Sorry.
Yes. So, yeah. During the 2019-2020 fiscal year, Commissioner Wake only penalized 1 lobbyist, Lawrence Gold, for violating Ontario's Lobbyist Registration Act by failing to register and disclose his lobbying for a long period of time. The commissioner only imposed the minimum penalty of naming Mr. Gold publicly. So that's our integrity commissioner. It seems that our integrity commissioner lacks a bit. That or balls.
Something's well, maybe just I'm going to go out there and limb. Maybe Doug has his balls in Doug's
jar.
pocket. On his desk.
In a jar above the door.
It makes one wonder, right? What does he have on him? You got to remember he's a mob boss, right? So he's got some dirt on somebody somewhere.
Compromat is currency when you're a mob boss. So just ask Putin. So I'm not quite. Let's just put it this way: I would put a lot of water in my wine with regard to Doug Ford having been cleared 1,000%, particularly since he asked the commissioner to clear him, or whether or not it was okay that he'd invite 600, I think it was, of his daughter's best developer friends to her wedding. Apparently, he asked him if it was okay that he do that after he had already done it. Which, in itself, I believe would probably be
funny how that works.
That the integrity commissioner decided not to pick up on.
I'll just overlook that one. It's not a big deal. I'm just overlooking it. It's okay.
So now I'm a little confused because with the John Tory thing, when you're talking about a plot, I mentioned on a previous show that it seemed to me that Ford was looking to prepare a federal run since he was trying to act very statesmanlike, particularly on the federal scene with the health thing. And that meeting he had was with the Premier of British Columbia's team, where he was at the head of the table at a restaurant. So it's not with fellow conservatives. Right? That
he wants to be prime minister.
Yeah, but he's more like
he stated that.
But he stated it. But you have to understand that this guy, right, has been treated poorly by the Conservative Party of Canada. Extremely poorly. Chrystia Freeland's his best friend. He's smoking cigars on porches with Dominic LeBlanc. He's agreeing to childcare deals with Prime Minister Trudeau. He's the first one to bend on the health things. He knows what side his bread is buttered on, and it's not with Skippy. So I thought it was a sign that he was, trying to make sure that Skippy loses so that he can run federally. But now that John Tory's gone, and he seems to also really want to be mayor of Toronto at the same time as he's premier of Ontario, hence the strong mayor rules, and he's lost his strong mayor in Toronto. There's also rumors going on Twitter. Oh yeah, that's it. Doug's we're going to be running in Toronto, because I think the earliest or the latest, I'm not sure, that they can have the by-election in Toronto is sometime in May.
I think that's
because John Tory has to present his resignation first officially, and then it has to be accepted, and then the board has 45 days to set an election by-election that would not be more than X number of days after, and blah, 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 and then it needs to run. And so it looks like until May, there'll be an interim mayor. McKelvey, I believe her last name is. It was the deputy mayor who would become the interim mayor at the time. Now, So people are wondering also now, the rumor mill is whether or not he'll leave the premiership to run for mayor of Toronto, which is what it seems he's always wanted to be. So now he's conflicted because now he seems to have an embarrassment of choices. Now, with regard to the mayor itself, I do not know all the little details. There's been so much news, I haven't been able to listen to it all.
It's been difficult to keep up.
Yeah, but it appears that the story is that during COVID, there were long hours. He was away from home. It seems that his wife may also have some type of serious illness.
What an opportunity to cheat on her then. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, or there may have not been a certain level of certain type of intimacy in his relationship with his wife due to the fact that she's not well. Again, don't take that as cash. These are just things I've heard somewhere. I have not done tons of research. So right now we're in the speculation part. I'm not talking necessarily facts here. I just want to be clear for the kids who are listening. So, long nights, lots of pressure, not at home. It's been a while. Someone supple and young maybe batting their eyelashes. We don't know if there was any coercion here. Clearly there was a power imbalance because, their boss employee, but she is 31. So she is a grown adult. Doesn't mean that there wasn't any pressure, but we don't know. We don't know.
This is true. We don't know.
We don't know. Nobody's been commenting about that aspect of it. So we don't know. There's a lot of people looking at John Tory and go, oh my God, how could that happen? 68, 31, blah, 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 blah. It's like, kids, it's not as rare as you would think.
Oh, no. No.
31 female, 68 male, not as rare as you would think. And of course, when it comes to quote unquote sex appeal, power, money, for some people, age, wisdom, whatnot is sexy. So, we tend to think of sexy in terms of everything we see on TV, right? Young, supple, hard body, prime of your life, but that's different. Now we have some kids that are saying, for example, Kid John, I don't care who sleeps with you. If it doesn't affect the job performance, then it's none of our business. By the way, welcome, Kid John. I believe this is the first time I've seen.
John's been on a few times.
John's been on that?
Yeah, he's no buddy of mine.
Then the avatar has changed.
We're gonna promote him. Well, he's watching on Facebook. Promote his show BTR Blast the Radio. It's his online radio station, the world's first fully licensed online radio station on Twitch. Very first in the world.
Wow, that's fantastic. Congratulations,
BTR,
Sean.
Blast the Radio. BTR.com.
That's fantastic. So it happens more often than you would think. And there's a lot of people just sort of, there might be grossed out by that. 38, 68, 31. And why did he do that? And there's part of me that's sitting there thinking, he's 68 and she's 31.
That's why he did it.
I don't know you, but if you listen to Adele, that song, Rumor Has It, she is half your age, so I'm guessing that's the reason why you strayed.
I agree with John when he says if it doesn't affect the job performance, then it's none of our business, and he is correct in that.
It does affect the job performance,
but in this instance, because she's his subordinate, that calls into question his integrity. Sorry, my computer's making noise here. That calls into question his integrity as the mayor. It's like literally, if does that affect his decisions that he has on council? Is he going to lean more towards one thing over another? And he did cheat on his wife. I mean, it calls into question a lot of things. What he does in his spare time is his business, but when you do it with a subordinate, that's a different thing altogether. If he had a mistress, who cares?
Yeah, but here's the other thing, right? When you have secrets in politics, the gay community knows this very well. They had the fruit machine for us way back in the day. It makes you open. If you want to keep that secret, depends how badly you want to keep that secret. Bribes, compromise, compromat influence. That's why it's. I understand that in 2023 because we are a little more liberal, and Canada's not particularly a country that focuses on sex scandals with its politicians.
No,
It's like I don't care what you're doing in your own time, so long as you can do the job well. That's fine, and I can understand that.
agreed.
It's a very Canadian live and let live thing. But when you're a politician, you're entrusted, when you've been given the public trust and you put yourself in a situation where you are blackmailable,
Mm-hmm.
that affects your ability to do the job. When you're in a high stress, high job where often you have to answer to emergencies and part of your brain is preoccupied with trying to make sure that you've covered up your lie and keeping track of what you said, that's
Yeah.
affecting your job performance. When you're not sleeping well at night because you know that the Toronto Star is onto the story and it will be coming out at any time within one 1 month of 3, I guess that affects your job performance. He was doing it. He ran anyway. He knew that there was probably a good chance that he would get caught.
Mm-hmm.
He said he loves his wife. He said he loves this job. And yet he put both at risk.
Look, my
That
personal opinion.
That affects your ability to do the job.
My personal opinion. I don't care. I don't care. Is it improper? Yes, for 2 reasons. 1, subordinate. 1, and 2, he cheated on his wife. So those 2 things I'm not cool with. Now, if he was a single man and he was sleeping around with half the female population of Toronto, I don't give a damn. That has
Or
no
if he has
reflection
an
on his.
arrangement with his wife, which is none of our business.
Which is not, again, it's irrelevant. It doesn't have anything to do with his job. I don't care. In this instance, yeah, it does, because of the fact that he is sneaking around. He is, it leads into questions of, well, first off, integrity. Clearly, he has none.
Nope.
Number 1. And number 2, if he, like I said, he could lean one way or the other on counsel because of, maybe he's got somebody whispering something into his ear. I don't know. I'm speculating, but it creates an air of impropriety and an air of influence. So,
yeah, I think we had that with Bruce Carson as well when he was working in conjunction with the Harper government. And he was, I think, in his 70s and had this young girlfriend in her 20s who used to be an exotic dancer. And all of a sudden, she's getting $1 million contracts for water treatments on Indigenous rivers.
Oopsie.
Man, she must have had quite an ability to twerk and shake it. I'm just, you shouldn't be doing it under any circumstances, but when you are in a position of public trust,
mm-hmm.
it opens up the avenue for way too many conflicts.
Exactly. If they didn't work together, it wouldn't be a story as far as I'm concerned.
It would still be a story because, you can still be blackmailable, right? But the fact that he went fishing in another well at the office.
Yeah.
Because it just makes it even more dangerous, makes it more complicated, more. But everything. It's like whatever everybody has their own secret garden, and everybody has things in their skeleton closet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Everybody, no exceptions, right? Everybody on this show, doing the show, listening to the show, having anything, sponsoring the show like this. Everybody has something in their secret garden that they would rather not get out, and none of us are our worst moment. Right.
Well, I think Linda sums it up. It's the appearance of impropriety when you're a public official, and that's the problem. The optics on it are not good.
Yeah, because if you can't see, this is the thing: is if you can't be trusted in one area of your life, that naturally leads people to ask if you can be trusted in other areas of your life. And you may be a person that's very well able to compartmentalize, and you say, "No, I only do this in this part of my life. Everywhere else, I'm honorable." Good for you, but we're supposed to take your word for it, and all we see is you being dishonorable.
Yes. Make sure of it.
You're asking us to take a leap of faith. And we already took one when we voted for you. Fool me once.
No question.
So you got, that's one of these things for anything that's where you're given the public trust to hold and take care of. If you have secrets, you're probably in the wrong job.
Well, yeah, because you are under a microscope 24/7, whether you realize it or not. And not everybody is, as I said, I think this past Friday, not everybody is capable of that level of narcissism, because I think you have to be I think you need a little bit of narcissism to be in that position. Not saying that you're fully 100%, but
there's not very many people that are in politics with that ego.
But this is the thing, right? So you're going to enter into that realm of employment. You've got to have a pretty big ego, period. You have to think you're capable of running and winning and being victorious and then ruling. Now, you also have to understand that you're not infallible. And when you do things like this, you're going to get caught and you're going to pay the piper.
Yep.
It's just how it goes.
There's an expression in French that goes tout se sait. Everything eventually is known.
If you don't want your secrets revealed, then don't have any secrets.
Or be the first to tell them.
What was the line I heard from the movie The Circle? Secrets are lies?
Yes.
Which was the book by, who wrote the book? Dave Eggers. He also wrote a heartbreaking work of staggering genius. The Circle, which is loosely based on a certain little fruit company, as Lieutenant Dan had me invest my money. I don't want to get sued. They're worth $1 trillion.
Oh, man. So I have a feeling that we'll be finding out more about what's been going on there. There's already some articles that came out that I haven't had a chance to read yet, that has sort of like the anatomy of a scandal and that type of stuff, that I'll go there and take a look at and see if I can find out more. But yeah, we have some upheaval that was not expected when we signed off on Friday. That way.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. So our conservatives, fortunately, are doing us a favor by behaving so badly. Part of me says, keep it up, boys. Until the election.
Yeah.
But this is a train wreck, man. Ford is exploiting his daughter's wedding. Mayor of Toronto is, sticking his paintbrush and other cans of paint. And then, PP's a walking disaster. And then you got Heather Stephenson, who's like not really doing well, and Tim Houston is drowning, and so is Blaine Higgs in Nova Scotia. He's kind of drowning, and the happiest conservative in the country still appears to be Scott Moe. For some reason.
Because he doesn't have a thought in his head.
And he also hit someone with this car and killed them.
Oh, he's killed people.
Like, how's this guy premier?
He had 3 DUIs, I think?
3 DUIs.
And one of them killed somebody. But he didn't get a DUI on that. They didn't give him the breathalyzer.
He got to, yes, yeah.
Because the argument was, he was on his way to work. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Tell me he wasn't on a rager the night before and he was driving drunk home. Maybe he was going to work, but I guarantee you he was on a rager the night before. You know what? That's not fair. I shouldn't say I guarantee you. I shouldn't say that. Maybe the night before he decided, I'm going to stay where I am because I've had too much to drink and I'll drive home.
And he was still
We've all done this. We've all done this. I shouldn't say we've all done it, but many of us have done it where, okay, I'm going to make the right decision. I'll stay where I am. You get up to leave the next morning, you realize, holy crap, maybe I shouldn't be driving, because you're still feeling the effects from the night before.
Well, let's say when you put your hand in front of your mouth and and then your eyes water from the fumes still.
Yeah. Because I've done the right thing by staying overnight at a friend's place and then drive home in the morning and get home and go, maybe I should have stayed until at least noon, because you get home and you realize, I'm not 100%. That was not a good decision on my, and So now I just, avoid it altogether. It's like if I have to drive somewhere and I know there's going to be alcohol involved, I take a train or a cab or an Uber or hitch a ride with somebody. I don't take my vehicle because if I know the possibility of staying late into the night, and it depends, if you're with a group of friends you've not seen in a while and you know where it's going to go, make the right decision, stay over, and then get home by other means than your own. Don't transport yourself, because they started setting up ride programs around Christmas time, early in the morning, to catch people.
Oh, yeah.
And they were doing it. They were catching lots of people. And I remember thinking, well, it's like the person did the right thing by sleeping where they were the night before, not fully realizing the next morning that maybe I shouldn't be driving until they get to where they're going and going, holy crap, that was maybe but they've nailed a lot of people in early morning ride programs because 6, 7 in the morning, people are driving home to get ready to go to work. And that's when accidents happen because that's the most traffic. And if you're intoxicated, anyway, it's a bit of a rant.
Yeah. I'm just going through my Twitter feed and
I need to talk.
Oh, the morning pour. Yes, please. Warm cup of goodness. There you go, kids.
Java.
That's the good stuff right there. Java cup.
Black like my heart.
I was just going through my Twitter feed. This really isn't a story, but it's more like a quick little thing. Did you hear that they've made a Donald Trump Jr. biopic? It's coming out on February 24th. It's called Cocaine Bear.
Okay, you got me with that. You got me. My mouth was open. You got me. That was a good one. Yeah, Cocaine Bear. Yeah. Based around a pseudo-true story in that there was a bear years ago that did, in the 80s, ingest a kilo of cocaine and went on a bit of a rampage. The rest of the story is completely made up, but that did happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard similar stories when I used to work at the Canadian International Development Agency about elephants in India having consumed the alcohol of people who didn't store it away too well. Can you imagine drunken elephants?
Well, I've seen drunken elephants. I've seen drunken elephants. When I was in Botswana, they eat the amarula fruit.
Oh, yes. I've had amarula.
Yeah, amarula is a great.
That's a great cream liqueur.
Brilliant. It's a fruit cream liqueur, and the elephants will eat them, but they ferment in the stomachs, and then the elephants get drunk. So you'll see stumbling elephants around several areas of Botswana. It's quite funny. It's frightening because they'll be bumping into one another and falling over, and it's like, ooh, don't get too close, people, because if they fall over, you dead. You be crushed. But yeah, it happens all the time. Drunken elephants. Pink elephants on parade. Pink elephants on parade. Wasn't that in Dumbo?
Yep. And then another random thing I learned, there's a podcast called Canadian History A or X. It's EH for A with X. It used to be called Cool Canadian History. It's hosted by a named Craig Baird, and on his Twitter feed, he often puts historical things every day of things that have happened in Canada, and some of them are like solid history that you'd think that you'd learn in school, and other things are just very interesting things about Canada that you never thought you would know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you know for one day in 1969, February 12th, 1969, Toronto tested out having bus bunnies to make public transportation more attractive?
Oh, like Playboy bunnies?
Uh-huh. There you go, Mr. Grizzly.
You got it.
The idea was proposed by the Canadian Urban Transportation Conference. The idea was tested that one day only.
Oh, boy. I don't even know what to say about this. Oh, wow.
You've come a long way, baby.
That's some misguided wow.
Was
Yikes.
Doug Ford at that meeting too?
Well, no, he would have been like Doug Ford's my age, so he would have been a year old.
Ooh.
John Tory would have been old enough.
Ooh, who put that around? Who floated that idea at the brainstorming session and had everybody go, yes. Bet you there wasn't many ladies in that room when that happened.
Well, you do remember that, well, there wouldn't have been any women in the room at that point. They
There,
weren't allowed positions in
there
that
might have been
position.
one conflicted lesbian.
If she was even in a
I know
position
this
to
is
say
wrong,
anything.
but
Yeah.
I do like bunnies.
Well, you do have to remember. I'm going to steal a line from Austin Powers. Bring on the sexy stews, man. I mean, that's how it was back then. If you
Right.
worked for Pan Am, they checked your weight, they checked your measurements, they made you wear. That's what it was like back then. So,
Yep. Yep. And then we
we're
have
gonna
this.
discuss the 15-minute city thing that went on this weekend.
Yes, we will. But there's
Okay.
one more thing. And then we have this lovely thing here where Peter Popinjay, Peter Poindexter, had an event in Windsor on Friday.
Mm,
Friday, was it? What's the 11th? No, Saturday. I believe it was.
Saturday. Yeah.
And take a look at this, Mr. Grizzly and Kits. And
It's a very diverse crowd. Not
tell me
diverse.
what
You want to pop that open? Open
I'm
that
gonna
up
pop that.
fully. A lot of angry
Oh,
old
there's
white
one guy.
people. Oh, one guy. There's one.
Hold on, let's find him. Oh, right there.
Oh, is
Might
that
just
Jeff
have a really
Ballingall?
good tan.
No, he's
Might just be a
no.
white guy with a good tan.
I think it's the guy in the
Maybe not.
foreground. The bald guy in the foreground, maybe. No,
This
you were
guy
right
here?
there. No. Directly below him.
Oh, this
That
guy.
guy right there. Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, the guy with the beard, I think that's Jeff Ballingall, but I could be wrong.
oh, there you go. Okay, so welcome to Conservative Wars Waldo 2023, where you scan
Yeah.
a room and try to find the BIPOC.
Well, one of the comments that I saw on this particular instance was, "That's a lot of white people." And of course, what did somebody say? "What's with all the white hatred? Why do you hate white people?" That's nobody. That's not. Oh my God. Some butthurt white people out there who are so threatened that their position of privilege may be taken away from them by somebody who has earned the position because they didn't have the privilege. It's like that's a group of people who would have screamed, "I'm not wearing a mask. I don't need one.
Right. Now,
Why can't I drink beer when I drive? I work 12 hours a day. I'm thirsty. I want to have a beer on my way home."
now, if you put up the next one, here's something very interesting that Peter Popinjay does. So, in a crowd like this,
Mm-hmm.
then he takes individual pictures, and the ones that he puts up
Of
happen to
course.
be with the few
Mm-hmm.
minorities that happened to show up.
Of course. Of course. Every time.
This is a shtick.
Yeah.
This is a shtick. And the other thing that I noticed right here, we talked on a previous show about the liberals potentially having the wrong priorities, or priorities that are not matching up with what's in the public's mind with regard to healthcare and education, cost of living, because right now their three major bills have something to do with, broadcasting firearms in official languages. Well, Skippy is not really doing much better here, because here we are yesterday, again, while everybody's talking about health, well, he's talking about firearms. And in this picture, this series of pictures, you will notice.
Mm-hmm. Can't quite put my finger on it.
All the ethnic-looking people seem to have disappeared from his rally.
Oh no, there's one.
Oh, yep, there's one.
Right beneath the Canadian flag on the left. His
On
face
the
is
right.
on the
right
left.
there.
Yeah.
There's the guy. Yep, there's the guy. There's the racial diversity.
Yeah.
So when he's talking about general things, like I'm going to give you your freedom back, I'm going to give you your life back or whatnot, he takes pictures where he's standing with people of different races. When he's talking about guns, he takes pictures of primarily white people. Just little things. Just little things you notice if you're paying attention.
Remember, he wants to remove the gatekeepers that keep you safe.
Yeah. Always beware of the hate keeper who wants to remove gatekeepers. That's all I'll say.
Well, so I worked construction for 29 years, and I've taken so many safety courses, it's ridiculous. Working at heights, working on ladders, working on this, blah, 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 asbestos courses, you name it. I've taken them all. Several certificates, blah, 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 blah. And I remember each year the successive government would come in with new safety regulations on if you're working on a ladder over a certain height, you have to be tied off. I'm like, that does make it more difficult to do your job. It does. And we hated it, but we'd follow it. Okay, all right, this is the new reg. Fine, we'll do it. You're on a 6-foot step ladder. You're only 4 feet in the air because you have to be the 2 top steps you can't use. So you're 4 feet in the air and you have to be tied off. That's the rule. Okay, no problem. It did make doing your job a lot more laborious, and it was time consuming because you got to put your harness on, you get up, you got to find a proper anchor point, you tie in, so on and so forth. It's a pain in the butt, but it was necessary to save lives and keep people from getting harmed. Okay, fair enough. He wants to remove the gatekeepers that cut into profit margins, because if companies didn't have to pay for those safety regulations, like, fall arrest harnesses and the courses that go along with it, and plus the time it takes to put the harness on, you have to do a full check of the harness before you even put it on. All that cuts into productivity time. So we'll eliminate all that by making it simpler for you to do your job. I'm not saying he's saying any of that, but he keeps talking about removing gatekeepers, and it's basically just a way to increase profit margins. That's all it is. It's all it's ever been. He doesn't care as long as money's being made for his gatekeepers, his overlords, his puppet masters. As long as they're making a profit, that's all he cares about. Doesn't care about you. Never has. Never will.
Right. I have nothing to add because it was just so well stated.
Oh, thanks.
It just, I do not like this man.
No.
I do not.
Now,
like
I did
this
read
man.
something yesterday, and I won't say I came to his defense, but somebody wrote, well, Pierre Poliver's worth $287 million. I said, hang on a second here.
No.
I said, look, the rumor for a long time has been 9 million, and I've yet to substantiate that. How did it go from 9 million to 287 million? It's the same people who are saying Trudeau's worth 387 million.
Right.
Not a stretch of that is true. Not a word of that has any authenticity to it whatsoever. What's Poliver worth? He might be worth 9 million. I don't know. I've been reading that one for a long time, but I've
nine
never.
is possible given his salary, and if he invests it over being, when you take all the
21
things
years.
that government supplies in X number of years, and if it's well invested, and
Plus
that's quite
his
possible.
plus his real estate holdings, that would fall into his portfolio. So 9 is possible. I don't know that it's true. I've never been able to substantiate that. But the 287 million, I said, look, I hate the man with the white hot intensity of 1,000 suns, but facts are important here. I would need to see receipts. Well, nobody's got them because he's not worth $287 million. It's not the case. He's not worth $287 million any more than Trudeau's worth $385 million.
Right.
None of it is true. And then the other rumor floating around that Trudeau bought massive amounts of shares in a company that is a subsidiary of Pfizer, and that's why he bought all these. I'm like, none of that is true either. The ethics committee would have been all over that shit from day one. Why is it no politician has ever said this, right? No politician's ever brought that forward because it isn't true. If there was a shred of truth to it, Skippy and his minions would be all over that 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It would be in your face all the time. It's not, because it's not true.
Right.
Every village had an idiot. Social media got every single one of them together, put them into a bias confirmation echo chamber where they will not accept anything that messes with their narrative.
Well,
Facts don't matter.
because the bias echo chamber tells them you're special.
You're special and you're right. And they just keep hearing the same things over and over and over again. And if it runs counter to their narrative, no, that's fake news. Mainstream media has brainwashed you. No, the earth isn't flat. Vaccines are real. And then I got to show. I got to bring this up. I got to show you this because when I show you this, you're gonna have the same reaction I did. Somebody just yesterday, I saw this online and I went, "Oh boy." You know how there's certain amount of people that when they, I have to go in for surgery soon. How can I make sure that the blood that I get is not, it's vax free? I want the pure blood. Just read this. Hello, my dear community. Does anyone know if we can assure unvaccinated blood be available should a transfusion be necessary? The reply, you may not find a surgeon who will do this, but your urine can be used as blood. The correct name for urine is blood plasma ultrafiltrate. One of the biggest cover-ups of all time is the healing power of urine, especially aged urine. So my initial comment was, please don't, you know what, do whatever the hell you want. I don't even care anymore. Send the goddamn asteroid.
I like the aged urine thing, right? Because it just makes me think that you're like sitting there with your glass and you're like, I detect notes of oak.
73.
73, yes.
Before the rains.
Ooh, yes. A hint of placenta. Like, what
I
the
think
hell?
there may be a urinary tract infection with this particular one.
Yes. Here are all the lovely barrels in which I keep my pee. And I aged it 37 days like a steak.
They smoke barrels or like... Like, what is wrong with people? So I'm like, please don't, you know what? Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Maybe they'll just remove themselves from the gene pool. And
Darwin,
I know that's...
take me away.
Well, it's terrible of me to say that because I'm always about let's find a way to protect people, give them proper information, they'll make a well-informed decision. Apparently...
And then you give them the information and you give it to them again.
And they just deny it because they don't believe
and then
it.
You give it again, and then you just say, you know what?
You're on your own. You're on your own. Forget about it. You're on your own. I don't care anymore. Darwin was right. Feel free to remove yourselves from the gene pool because we don't need you. Urine is something that is supposed to exit the body, never go into it. Never. Every doctor will tell you this. It's, it's waste.
We expel it for a reason.
I'm beyond flabbergasted.
It comes out of you for a reason.
Correct.
Because it's not supposed to be there. Just, let's leave it at that. We have UFOs.
Lots of them.
It appears that China's having a birthday party because there's like 99 red balloons all over the sky. Little musical reference there for those of us who are a little older. 99 sweet love balloons. Sung by a group called German group called Nena, N-E-N-A. If you haven't, I'm sure if you do not know the song 99 Red Balloons or 99 Luftballons, once you kind of hear the first few notes of it, or at least the chorus, you'll know that you've heard that song somewhere before, either in a commercial or something. But
so it
was very popular.
They did an English version, which became a big hit.
Yes.
But I also actually really like the German.
The German's
version
good
too.
The German's really good. Yeah. Yeah, very, very good. When I was a kid, I'd always try to sing it phonetically because I used to buy those teen magazines that had the lyrics in them like this, but they always put the lyrics in English. So I had like 99 Red Balloons in English. I could know it back and forth, but in German, I I didn't. So it's like, Wagen just like listening to the song like really closely and just like trying to imitate. And it's like, yeah, I know German. I didn't know German for squat. I was just making sounds, but I was doing it in time and in rhythm. It made me say, I thought I was smart. I wasn't, but I thought I was. Yeah. Ew. We need to start like bringing in the count from the Sesame Street here. I love to count. One unidentified flying object. Two unidentified flying object. Three unidentified flying objects. Four unidentified flying objects. So we had the first one that was an actual balloon. Nobody knows what happened to the second balloon that was somewhere around South America. We just stopped talking about that one. We don't know if that one's floating somewhere, if anybody did anyone with that. And then there's been three other objects, smaller, not necessarily balloons, I guess, or maybe they were balloons of different kinds. I do not know what. Some of them, there's some speculation that they might have been from corporate.
Yeah, so they're just shooting everything down now.
Looking at exploring like oil fields or something like that, or that type of stuff. But there have been three more, one off the coast of Alaska, one shot just above Dawson City in Yukon. Conveniently, as the Prime Minister was happening to travel to the Yukon, that wasn't planned because, well, I mean, it was on the schedule for a long time ago, but it just so happens, oh, really? Just as you're going to Yukon, you have to order something shot down from Yukon.
Well,
and in that one, the Prime Minister said that he did order it shot down. And of course, then you had everybody on the web starting to go, oh, look at us. You know, we're so sad. We had to get the U.S. to do it. It's like, dude, we have NORAD.
Yeah, exactly.
We have NORAD. We participate in NORAD for a reason. Yes, while everybody understands the real politic that we're pretty much just the junior partner. We get told how it's going to be, and we do it because, you know, most of the money is the United States. It's like, that's how we, you know, the only thing that we've done with NORAD, as someone mentioned, right, was like not opt into the National Continental Missile Defense thing.
Yes.
That's probably about the only independent decision that we've made in the entire history of NORAD, which that's probably going to have to go by the wayside soon too, given what's happening with Russia and China. Yeah, we're probably going to be caving in on that one eventually as well. But yes, we have a joint command and we have it for a reason. And yes, you know, it's not that we don't have the capacity. And you had Michael Chung saying, you know, well, we don't have the capacity. I guess, well, it's like, assuming it was true that we didn't have the capacity, the reason we don't have the capacity is because when you were in government, you sat idly by like a good puppy and did nothing, while you gave your government that it was a good idea to give a sole source contract for multiple decades and multiple $1 billion to one country, one company.
Yeah, it's the hypocrisy at play is just beyond ridiculous.
And then he's tweeting, this Michael Chung guy, he's tweeting as if, right, that the Conservatives improved our capacity, our capabilities in the air during the nearly 10 years they were government. They didn't. They had a few military procurements here and there for a couple of things, but they didn't improve our capacity in the air. And that they left the Trudeau government a somewhat improved capacity in the air, that our capacity is worse than now. It's not. We could have had better capabilities in the air, but you guys fucked up the contract.
Yeah.
So why are you moaning? Like,
because they don't know how else to do government. All they know how to do is complain. They have no solutions. They have no suggestions. They have no idea. They have no clue.
It's just
so complain. The other guy did it. We'll do better. Okay, what are you going to do? We'll do better. Oh, okay, and what are your policies that you're going to do better with? We'll just do better. Okay, but I'm going to give you more freedom. We're like the third freest nation on earth, but we'll get more freedom. So that means social programs like Norway, Sweden, and Finland, right? No, I'm going to remove the gatekeepers. Okay, I like it. I'm beating a dead horse to death here. I understand, but like, come on, man. Just
so if you put it up, this is the Michael Chung tweet there. The Prime Minister says, I ordered the takedown of an unidentified object that violated Canadian airspace. At NORAD command shot down the object over the Yukon. Canadian and U.S. aircraft were scrambled and a U.S. F-22 successfully fired at the object. And then Michael Chung. So it's just confirmed that this, Skippy air quotes, object over Canadian airspace was taken out by a US F-22 jet. We do not have the capacity to defend ourselves and our sovereignty. Hard questions need to be asked about the state of the Canadian Armed Forces.
You know, you're not making friends on the RCAF when you say stuff like that. And Linda's statement here, it's disappointing. I thought Michael Chong had more sense. Completely agree, Linda.
He started to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, we did.
He's done this. This is the second or third time that we've singled him out now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they eventually all get in line behind Skippy because Scott Aitchison's pulling the same crap too. And I, you know,
they know better.
They know better. What happened to things like, I don't know, integrity and a backbone? Guess those went out the window with a paycheck.
Yeah. And then you got Talib Noor Mohammed, who's the Vancouver Granville and chair of the Pacific Caucus and an MP, replying to Chong, NORAD is a joint command. This means both the PM and the President of the United States gave the order to shoot down the object, and correct. CDS Canada confirmed whichever jet had the first best shot to take out the balloon had to go ahead. To mislead Canadians about our military's preparedness is reckless.
It is completely reckless. It's just sending a panic, an unnecessary panic. See what they did? Well, we'll do it better. You had your chance and you blew it, dude. You blew it.
Yeah. And then we have Peter Radcliffe saying, spherical, cylindrical, and now octagonal unidentified flying object shot down. We are under attack by geometry. It's frightening, bordering on terror, because so few among us understand geometry or speak its language. What's next? Perhaps the much-feared dodecahedron. Oh. And then you have a whole bunch of people saying, "Oh well, you know, if it was the aliens, I guess we've taught them that we're shoot first, ask later." Like, as if we probably weren't able to get close enough or enough good enough visual to kind of figure out that what was there was not out of this world. Maybe. Right? I mean, we do have cameras and satellites and right? It's not like we can't get a good look at the thing to see whether or not, this thing is made of stuff that we don't recognize. Oh yeah, we recognize this crap. It's like, these are not mysteries. So in the United States, you had actually journalists asking people from the military, what's the possibility that this is extraterrestrial? And it's like, so we're not ruling anything out, but that's left to intelligence to decide. I guess that's all they can say. But I mean, come on, man. Come on. So there was a fourth object crossing over the Great Lakes, Lake Huron, and the United States then shot that one down on their side of the border. So that's 3 in 3 days and 4 in the space of a week. Not quite sure what the reason for it is, and we haven't recovered the one over Yukon yet to know what it is and what its intent was. But oh darn, I keep on losing my notes. I hate this.
What the hell is going on this morning? All the computers are failing.
So yes, yes, indeed. So you had Prime Minister Trudeau saying the safety of Canadians is our number one priority, and that's why I made the decision to shoot down the object. It was a threat to civil aviation and a potential threat to Canadians. There's still much to know about it. That's why the analysis of this object is going to be very important. And a former Pentagon spokesperson, Eldridge Colby, is opening the door to what was saying why it's important to find out what these things are. He says, technically, we can exploit it and see what their kind of capabilities are, and also infer what it is that they're trying to find out. That's also very important, which tells you something about their intentions, what they're interested in, but also where they may lack capabilities and so forth. So a lot of people are wondering why it is that they allow things to fly for so long. Well, one of the reasons is if you allow it to fly longer and then you shoot it down and capture it, you kind of pick up what it is that they were trying to surveil. And then you can get some insight into what are the plans. Ron Hubert, who's a senior research fellow with the Center for Military Security and Strategic Studies, is quoted as saying, and he's opening the door to another possibility of something going on here, which is, quote, what it seems to be a clear indication is that someone is trying to probe North American surveillance capabilities. now. Once again, it could just simply be bad coincidences all coming together. But given the fact that we know that the Chinese are thinking about the possibility of use of force in Taiwan, thinking in terms of what's happening with the Ukrainian war with the Russians, there are obvious indications that this could in fact just be somebody trying to figure out how good are the North American surveillance systems. Little probe of the defenses, see how quickly we react, what we're going to do to see what
could
the
be.
next get away with. So we might be being probed. China, as usual, is protesting and says that it has no information whatsoever about the other three objects. And the Chinese Foreign Ministry, their officials are saying that the U.S. has flown more than 10 high-altitude balloons over China's airspace last year. I don't know. I don't know about that. The sources I have consulted so far have not been able to state whether or not China presented any documentation or evidence to support that claim. And the fact that it is making that claim now about a week later. Oh, by the way, yeah, you guys sent 10 over. Just, it seems that that's information that China would have had a week ago. That were true. Seems a little convenient. It's coming out now. Not saying it's not true.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that that's a little bit of truth you would have dropped a little earlier.
One would assume. One would. At least I do.
Well, I mean, when we look in the States, right, when the Republicans were going, oh my God, you're so weak, that would have never happened under Trump. And Trump said, that would have never happened under me. And it was like the very next day, actually happened 3 times under you, buddy.
Yeah.
China waited a week to say, oh yeah, US, by the way, you did this 10 times to...
I know you are, but what am I?
Really? Yes. And China did, there was 3 over the US that was detected over the time of Trump, and then the 4th one like this. But so, China's like, yeah, double plus half.
Mm-hmm.
You say we did it 4, so you did it 10. So there. Foreign diplomacy sometimes is started a bunch of 3-year-olds on a schoolyard kids.
You think? Maybe a little bit.
A little update on that earthquake in Syria and Turkey. Latest reports show that at least 33,000 now are dead.
Yikes.
And it's a possibility that those numbers are from Turkey only.
Yeah, they don't. Syria is probably in worse
Syria
shape.
since I heard 3,000, and that was like 2-3 days ago. At least 80,000 are injured. Millions are homeless. And of the people that are affected, there's one Canadian woman who was doing her PhD in Turkey, was among the missing, and some of her family members are there, hoping that they'll be able, that they'll find her alive, but at least get to the body so they can bring her back home.
Well, and as time marches on, the likelihood of finding someone alive is pretty slim. Right?
They've been finding people 150 hours buried.
Yes, and still alive. Somehow.
Over 20,000 buildings have collapsed or were heavily damaged, according to officials. And because, as we mentioned in a previous episode, President Erdogan has an election coming that he moved up 1 month earlier, prior to the earthquake hitting, something he may be regretting now, especially since his government has been taking a lot of flack about the slowness of the response, which he first tried to cover up by taking Twitter offline so people couldn't complain about it, and then seems to have acknowledged that he could have done better. But while he was taking with the left hand, as many conservatives do, they give away, or as they give away with the left, they take with the right. And what Erdogan has done has had over 130 arrest warrants issued for contractors and builders accused of cutting corners and ignoring regulations, making buildings more prone to collapse. Because when your nation is hit with the hardest earthquake and the most deadly one to have ever hit in decades, and buildings are collapsed and people are suddenly homeless, and you have a huge search and rescue operation, of course, out of the government, you have time to go do an inspection of some of the buildings that have fallen, to determine that it may have been construction companies cutting corners that had made it so that they fell during the earthquake. That's something you've got time to do in the first few days when there's that much of a No, this is deflection.
Of course it is. Now, probably a ton of truth to it. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. And I do know that in Istanbul, they have been constructing new buildings that are seismic rated and tearing down old buildings after the last earthquake they had there. But this was not Istanbul. This was out in the countryside in smaller areas, smaller cities where the entire infrastructure of Turkey needs to be updated with seismic rating. That's no secret. It's not a surprise. They've been doing it for the last, 10, 15 years now.
Mm-hmm.
It does take time. They knew this was going to happen. It's not, I can't personally blame him for this because it happened and they have been working on their infrastructure for a long time. But it costs billions of dollars to completely rebuild your entire infrastructure from the ground up. And I don't know where Turkey's getting the money. They're obviously borrowing it, probably from China. I don't know.
Well, Turkey was doing very well for the first few years under Erdogan, which is one of the reasons why he managed to keep on securing more power, which he then started to centralize. But yeah, you're right. These are all very, very valid points. So there are search and rescue operations in 8 southern provinces in Turkey going on at the moment. It is reported that aggressive crowds have impeded the work of international search and rescue teams, and there are reports of looting. The government regime in Syria says it will let the UN deliver aid to rebel areas, but it itself has not been working all that hard at getting much of the aid that it has received distributed to that part of the country. It is stated that there's about 4.7 million people living in northwest Syria in the areas controlled by rebel groups. There is confirmation that at least one convoy from the UN has crossed in to rebel-held territory in Syria, and that there's a second convoy that has made it into Syria. Not sure if that one has gone to the rebel area, but it seems that the Syrian government will allow the UN to deliver aid there, even though it itself will not do much to try and distribute aid there. I just hope that the UN workers don't get caught in a trap while they're there delivering the aid. So,
yeah, it's a bad situation. I mean, no matter how you slice it, there's nothing good about any of it. Will they, ramp up their reconstruction efforts? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the United States of America has a serious infrastructure failing on their behalf. They have, what was it? Something like 20 or 30,000 dams are on a point of failure right now because they're ancient.
That many?
Something in that neighborhood. I can't remember the exact number. I'd have to look into it a little bit further. And I remember reading about this a few years back, and they're like, there was a documentary I watched about failing infrastructure in the U.S., and if they didn't get on top of things soon, the whole country is on the verge of collapse. Biden is well aware of this. He is aware of it, and that's why he's trying to, upgrade where he can. Roads, bridges, tunnels, dams. It's, decades of, it's fine, it still works, don't worry about it. There's not enough inspectors to inspect all the stuff they have. And when they do inspect, they're like, we have a problem here.
Okay.
But nobody wants to spend the money because they want to provide tax cuts for the wealthy. Successive governments are just padding the pockets of their rich donors. They're on the verge of collapse. And we can't be smug about it because we have problems here too that if we don't address. For example, oil wells that need to be cleaned up in the oil patch, tailing ponds that if they burst, there goes the water supply, reinstituting safety regulations so Lac Megantic does not happen again. We can't be smug and say, look at what's happening to them. It's happening here too, which is why in the province of Quebec, if you've been to Montreal in the last couple of years, you'll realize that they are rebuilding their entire highway infrastructure because it was collapsing, literally collapsing, because it was built in the early 60s to handle X number of cars per hour. It was never built to handle what is currently there, and they just let it go for 50 plus years. You ever spent a year in Montreal? Extremely hot in the summer, ridiculously cold in the winter, and damp.
Okay.
Concrete infrastructure is meant to last, but after a certain amount of time, if you do not maintain it or upgrade it, it starts to fall apart. And it's the interchange at where the 20 and the DeCarry Boulevard meet. It's the, I can't
Oh,
think of the
yes.
interchange right now.
Yeah.
That thing completely,
L'échangeur Turco, I think
entirely. Yes, because you remember what it was like. It was literally
Oh,
collapsing.
yeah. You could see cracks when you were coming in and thing, and like water dripping down, and
And
yeah.
not to mention the fact that they had schools and rec centers and houses built underneath that.
Underneath it. Yeah.
You had giant chunks of concrete falling off and crushing cars. It's
Yep.
miraculous more people didn't die. So
Right.
the province of Quebec said, we got to spend billions. We have no choice. It has to be done. It has to be done. The Champlain Bridge, why do you think they just spent a couple billion on building a new one? Now, is there corruption in there? Sure, there probably is. No doubt. Were there payoffs? No doubt. Were there sort of mob bosses that were involved in contracts for concrete? I don't doubt it for a second. But it still needed to be upgraded and fixed and repaired. And in many cases, build a new one, tear the old one down. It had to be done. It's kind of like what they're doing with the new super hospital they built at. Have you seen it? It's right at the interchange there. So
Okay.
it's
No,
the
I
end
have
of
not seen it yet.
DeCarry and the 20. It's the largest hospital in the country, and they spent a few billion on it. It needed to be done because all of their hospital infrastructure was failing so badly. And we have the same problem here in Ottawa with the Civic Hospital, which was built in the 20s. It's over 100 years old, and they've expanded and expanded and expanded, but it's in terrible shape. So they're building a new one directly across, well, not directly across the street, sort of kitty corner. And people are complaining they should have built it directly across the street. Well, they tried to. John Baird had secured the funding and said, we're going to build it right here, but it was on the Central Experimental Farm. And there is a 30-year experiment going on there. So they legitimately would end an experiment in doing so. So they ended up moving it. Anyway.
Wow. All right. Thanks for mentioning that, because that's important.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's very important. The infrastructure in this country is also at a crumbling state, and if we don't get on top of it, we're going to have problems. And as evidenced by the province of Quebec, and what was it, a number of years ago in Laval, when a bridge, an overpass, literally collapsed,
Just
and
collapsed.
few people did die.
Yep.
And that was one of a number of them throughout the province. Like, okay, we've neglected this for far too long because the government didn't want to spend the money because it's a capital cost and we won't get reelected if we spend the money. So we'll just, it's good for a few more years. Like, no, people are going to start dying.
Yep.
When the thing collapses, all of a sudden you've created, not only has somebody been killed, but you've created millions of dollars in lawsuits, millions of dollars in losses, because now you have to redirect traffic onto an already overtaxed system. It's much like, the Ville Marie Tunnel.
Yes.
They're redoing that from one end to the other because
Yes.
it opened in 1970. It's 54 years ago, 53 years ago.
Yeah.
They haven't done enough maintenance on it, so they're doing serious maintenance on it, while they're also expanding the Blue Line and the metro system. So, look, Montreal is realizing if we don't get on top of this now, we're going to have serious problems. Toronto needs to do the same when it comes to their electrical infrastructure.
Right.
Because they've put up all these new 50, 60, 70-story condo towers. They've got a couple that are going up that are going to be over 90 floors, all in the South Core District, right near the rail yards. And the electrical infrastructure is not there to support it. It doesn't exist. I've known about that for years because of what I did to earn a living. You work within the trades, you get to hear from other tradespeople who will tell you, not rumors, actual truths. So we have to get on top of building up the infrastructure. Is it going to cost money? Yeah, it's going to cost a lot of money. Yeah, your taxes are going to go up. Guess what? Your hydro bill is going to go up. Yep. And there will be corruption, and there will be people taking payoffs, and there will be people getting very wealthy off this, and we're going to pay for it. But what are you going to do? Look the other way and not let it happen while it completely collapses?
Yeah. And our infrastructure issue is all the more pressing and urgent and complicated by the fact that we have to factor in environmental adaptation and mitigation.
Yes. Yeah. You can't do things the old way anymore.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, hell, remember we used to spray asbestos on our windows at Christmas time
Yeah.
and sprinkle asbestos on our Christmas trees to have indoor snow? That's a real
Not
thing, folks.
anymore.
That's a real thing that did happen.
Yes. We have a selection of chips for you. We have salt and vinegar, we have sour cream and onion, and we have lead. Enjoy.
Lead.
Yum yum. Munch munch. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
Well, and another example too.
Oh,
I don't want to harp on this for too long, but I'll
no,
go one
please.
more section. Ice Storm 98 taught us how fragile the hydro infrastructure was, the electrical infrastructure was in the province of Quebec. When they designed it, they said, well, it's once in a century, a storm like that. It's never, ever happened. So we built it to the latest. And then, okay, this was the biggest storm that ever happened. Okay, we'll build it to that standard. And then what happened? A bigger storm. The entire grid collapsed. Google's talking in the background.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the entire system collapsed. And the reason they went above ground with hydro towers instead of burying the mass, most of the system was, well, it's going to cost a lot of money to bury it. And they're like, yeah, of course, because it'll last a lot longer and there's less maintenance. But when there is maintenance, it needs to be expensive because we have to locate the line and dig it up. Yeah, okay.
Right.
But there's less maintenance. Yeah,
Right.
but it's really expensive upfront cost. Yes, but there's less maintenance. The likelihood of an ice storm collapsing the entire grid on the province. Oh, that's right. It's underground, so we don't really have to worry about it.
Yep. 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 Other news that not more important, obviously, in terms of national security or environmental degradation or preparing the infrastructure, making sure that you have accountable government, but still something that, let's just say, lodged itself sideways in my craw.
Okay.
Yeah. The Canadian national women's soccer team has announced over the weekend that it was engaging in some job action led by Captain Christine Sinclair, who we both hope, I assume I'm speaking for both of us, is going to have her Lionel Messi moment at the upcoming World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, winning her gold and, to sort of like give the one thing that she's missing for absolutely
World Cup,
stellar career. But they started a job action against Soccer Canada and announced that they would be stepping back from training to protest a lack of funding for their program, a lack of pay equity with men. When you
consider that they are far more successful than the men.
Yes. They are playing in a 4-team tournament in Florida called the She Believes tournament in Orlando, Florida, with 4 of the top teams in the world, Brazil, Japan, and the United States, which is number 1. And it's a preparatory tournament for the World Cup. And they were not going to practice and probably not going to play in that. The women from the soccer team complained that they have yet to be paid for all of 2022. Not sure what kind of job you have where you only get paid once a year and late. That's not okay.
My buddy, his nephew, when he started his job, his first day on the job, congratulations, welcome to the company. Your annual salary is $75,000 a year. That's what you start out as. And he's like, oh, okay, great. He gets home and he says to his mom, so yeah, my annual salary is $75,000 a year. How do I stretch that out? She goes, what? Well, that's my annual salary. Uh-huh. How do I stretch that out? What are you talking about? He thought he got paid once. She's like, no, you dum-dum. You get it every 2 weeks over the course of a year. He thought he just got 75 grand. They take the taxes off and now figure it out for the rest of the time.
Yeah. So
adorable.
Yes. So Soccer Canada decided that it was going to, Canada Soccer, it's called now, not Soccer Canada. Canada Soccer decided that it was going to have a meeting with its players. And after the meeting, the team announced that it would call off its job action. But it turns out that they did not call off their job action because they made a wonderful agreement. But because Canada Soccer informed them that they consider the players to be employees and they consider the Talk Soccer tournament to be a contract, and that they were going to start a legal action against the players if they decided not to practice and continue with the job action. And since none of the players have been paid in a full year, well, they don't actually have the funds to mount a legal defense against that now, do they?
Nope.
Welcome to bend you over a barrel politics and employment. It seems that Canada Soccer has decided, even though the Canadian women's soccer team is absolutely amazing and reigning Olympic medalists and gold medalists and number 6 in the world and has a very good chance of winning the World Cup, they have decided that this is the year that they are going to cut training camp days, the numbers of players of staff invited, as well as funding for the national youth teams, and that the national team will not play a home game at all prior to this summer's World Cup.
I have some breaking
Now-
news.
Oh, okay.
Just going to post this on the screen. There was a gas leak in Orleans, which is east end of Ottawa.
Ooh.
Gas leak triggers explosion at construction site, leveling several houses. Gas is still leaking. One person rescued alive from home that exploded. This was updated 16 minutes ago. So this happened, I guess, at around 7 a.m. this morning.
Gee, this is 2 years now.
Yeah.
Right before the convoy last year, that happened too. There was
Yeah.
a gas explosion.
Some video.
Oh my word.
That's pretty bad. That's massive.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah. That's bad. Paramedics said they assessed 8 people with minor injuries in the surrounding area as of 7:20 a.m. They later said one of them, a man, had been pulled from the house where the explosion appears to have originated and that he was in serious but stable condition. 2 of the 8 are children. 10th Line Road is closed between Decour Drive and Wall Road, which is south of Brian Coburn Drive. The scene is about 20 kilometers from the core. I have another video here I'm going to pull up. There's some audio with it. Just a sec. You can see there's an awful lot of people there. Oh, sorry, I'll just start that over again.
Oh my God. That's a lot of flashing lights.
Yep.
Oh boy. Wow.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's like one of those things.
Our thoughts.
Breaking news.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting back to the Canadian national women's soccer team. Canada Soccer says it has offered the women $1.7 million in retroactive payments to the women's team. That's money they should have had all along that they said that they're only going to get now. Women want the same level of funding as the men's team received last year while preparing for the World Cup. And the men's team has officially made its support for the women's team's demands known in an open letter to Canada Soccer. So that's at least a positive development. Canada Soccer has said that it's committed with in its meeting to the players to pay equity in all deals struck going forward. Captain Christine Sinclair says the fight's not over, that the team will, quote, continue to fight for everything we deserve and we will win. And Pascal Saint-Onge, our Minister of Sport, is working with both sides and supports the right of women athletes to fair and equitable compensation. So, go ladies. Kick ass, take names, hand out lollipops, all of it. Go get what's yours.
Oh, yeah.
Go get what's yours. Because the men have gotten a lot of what's theirs by virtue of the fact that you did that. You built that. You built that. Go get what's yours. You've earned it. Okay. We have to wrap up soon. Quick couple of little things that I wanted to mention on some stories that we mentioned because I had notes all over the place and just want to make sure that I get all the details to you. In Turkey, over 100 countries have sent aid so far, and there are over 233,000 people on the ground trying to help with the recovery. So we're sending our best wishes there, hoping, and we still haven't heard anything yet about the Prime Minister announcing a matching fund yet, so I'm guessing they're still at the assessment period where we're not doing that. But please, kids, there are organizations around the country doing things proactively. So if you hear of anything and you have the ability to contribute in some way, please do. All right. With regard to the objects that were flying and that are being shot down, I have a quote here from Minister Anand that said, "To the best of our knowledge, this was the first time that a NORAD operation has downed an aerial object. The object was flying at an altitude of approximately 40,000 feet, had unlawfully entered Canadian airspace and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. Both Canadian and U.S. fighter jets were scrambled. The U.S. F-22 reached it first." So that was Minister Anand. Recovery operations are now underway and will be supported by the Canadian Armed Forces in conjunction with the RCMP. This coordinated operation will allow a further investigation into this object. We have no further details about the object at this time other than it appears to be a small cylindrical object. And that was the Prime Minister who said that, and he also spoke with President Biden about the incident on Saturday. With regard to the Super Bowl, little couple of things that I wanted to throw in here. And this is sort of like a combination of the two stories together. Someone decided to pull a little funny here. Mr. Grizzly.
Okay. Let's just load this up.
Breaking. NORAD has confirmed that Rihanna took out 5 Chinese spy balloons during her Super Bowl performance. She's floating all up there. I thought this was brilliant.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty good. That's a good one.
Super Bowl 57. If you saw the opening before the match, there was a Canadian man there, Patrick Mahomes from the Makwasugegan First Nation. He danced before a crowd of 70,000 people at State Farm Stadium, estimated, and to an audience of an estimated 100 million in the U.S. alone. He's a Cree dancer from Saskatchewan. And from the very, very first time at an NFL game, there was a land acknowledgement because this is happening in Arizona, specifically where there's a very active Indigenous population.
Very much so.
Patrick Mahomes said, "I think it's going to change. This is the beginning of it. When you do land acknowledgements and you get inclusion and you start working with Indigenous people, you start realizing we're not mascots." And indeed, you're not. And Mr. Grizzly, we have a little bit of video here. If you will put it up here for our kits.
Sure.
And I will
but
put
for this one, he is.
Yeah.
He's no stranger to the stage.
Just blow it up if you could.
This one, he is.
I'm still pinching myself, that I'm here and I'm part of everything.
Mitsui is Cree from Makwasugegan First Nation in Saskatchewan. He performs the traditional men's fancy dance and runs a dance company. This week, he's showing tens of thousands of football fans what he can do. This year, the Super Bowl invited performers like Mitsui to showcase Indigenous culture in the lead up to the game. At an event last week, for the first time, league officials read a land acknowledgement.
I feel like, long overdue, but so excited that they're doing it.
But some want much more change. While a couple of pro teams have discarded controversial nicknames, Kansas City still uses one, the Chiefs, and uses a fan chant, the Tomahawk Chop. Indigenous groups say it's cultural appropriation, and the team is the focus of repeated protests.
I just want to be seen as a human being and not as this thing you're mocking.
Groups like Not in Our Honor advocate against the use of Native American imagery in sport and hope positive steps like this aren't just a token.
What's going to happen after Super Bowl leaves? Are they still going to carry this on? I would hope so. And we would hope so going forward with other Super Bowls.
Mitsui feels change is coming.
I know when I was growing up, it was hard for me to find someone I could look up to that looked like me. And, now we're taking up all these spaces and being included. It's so amazing.
Amazing, he says, for this and the next generation to see. Stephanie Mercier, CBC News, Vancouver.
Okay, that man is burning some freaking calories. Just put it that way. Okay, he's not just a dancer, that's an athlete, because that's some heavy regalia. And he's jumping up and down and moving and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was a little positive. Just like there was a Canadian moment there. And just a couple little notes here with regard to that when we're talking about the black quarterbacks in terms of when we're talking about Canada. the Montreal Olympic Stadium hosted one of the greatest Grey Cup games in history. I believe it was in 1972. The Edmonton then Eskimos, now Elks, were the reigning champions, and they were playing against the Ottawa Rough Riders at the time. And in that match, I believe it was 1981, both quarterbacks were black.
Yeah, J.C. Watts. It was 1981. I remember that game like it was
Watts and
yesterday
Moon.
because Ottawa was leading at the half, and Ottawa was very much an underdog team at the time.
Yes.
J.C. Watts and Warren Moon. Warren Moon, who went on to be one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of professional gridiron football. And Tony Gabriel, who was given a penalty late in the game that would have put Ottawa in scoring position to win, a double forward offensive pass interference, which was never called before or since. I'm still angry about that.
Whoa.
42 years later, I'm still pissed off.
You remember that game. So there were two American players that were passed over by the NFL and came to the CFL. They weren't aware even that the CFL existed before. They were tapped on the shoulder by the Canadians that went down to scout them. And yes, back in 1981, we're talking over 40 years ago, in Canada, we had a Grey Cup with two black quarterbacks. That's how long
Senator,
it took for the United States.
Former United States Representative J.C. Watts. So after football, he got into politics. And he's been interviewed a number of times at the Grey Cup, and he's attended a number of times as well.
Yeah.
Because he's always supported the league.
Yep. And in 1972, in Canada, 1972, before I was born, we had the first black quarterback to win a Grey Cup, Chuck Ely. Yeah. So... welcome to the party, United States. Glad you've joined us. I guess I'm just waiting for 20 years from now, somebody saying only in the United States could two black people rise above to become quarterbacks. And it's
yeah, we did that years ago. Long time ago.
Because they love to do that, right? Only the United States can people. The United States is the only country on the entire planet out of the 190 of them where you can be from a different ethnic background of the majority and climb your way up.
Yeah, that's not.
I guess I don't exist.
Yeah. The myth of American exceptionalism. The myth.
All right, Mr. Grizzly, I think we have a show.
We do.
We do. All right. Kits, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Daily Beaver. We hope you loved listening to us because we loved making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring. And, we like to care. So we know that your word of mouth is priceless. Please tell all your friends, family, neighbors. Hey, shout it to strangers on the street if you want to. We won't object. Let them know that we exist because democracy is. You're going to try to get me to remember if I'm doing this way, right?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you got it.
There we go.
Just point in the direction. It's right there. Hit that little subscribe button. That little subscribe button. Please smash that. Because democracy is something you do. I mentioned in the show what it is that I thought might be a good idea. Oh, yes. If you can find some organizations that are helping in Turkey and Syria, please make a donation in some way. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on Crier Media Network, as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated if you happen to be listening to us on a platform that allows you to give them. That allows people to know that we exist and helps us with the algorithms and all that kind of stuff. So please give us some stars and some reviews. We love to hear from you, and we have been hearing from you. We have lots of comments for you that we hope that to include in some shows. We're recording at the moment a flagship episode that we hope to have out soon, and we'll have some of your feedback in there. So please we'll listen for it because those ones are audio exclusives. But if you want to reach out to us, we are on Facebook at True North Eager Beaver. Our Twitter feed is at True Eager, and our email address is truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Or you can leave a comment on our YouTube page under the episode. We've been seeing a lot of them lately, and we've been noting them, and we will read some of them out to you and talk about them very soon.
If you want us to come straight to you when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, you can do that via our pod page, podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. And that allows you to subscribe and get all our content. And since you're subscribing, why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver YouTube channel? That helps us out big time. And we've had at least 5 people subscribe since our last episode. So yes, growing. We love it. And we love it because we can't do this without you or your kind and generous support. So if you feel we've done a particularly good show today, and if you're watching, you might see something new. We have up
Right there.
It's
Right
really
there.
weird. I can't point the right way.
It's right there.
Yeah,
Right
I
there.
have to do Cirque du Soleil contortions to get my finger to go that way. Yes, you'll see that there's a little QR code right up there that Mr. Grizzly has just put up there. So if you're watching, all you need to do is scan that with your camera, and that will bring you directly to our tip jar. And if you're listening, our tip jar can be found at ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. That's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. And that's where you will find our coffee/hot chocolate fund tip jar. It's a little low. Just saying, I got to maintain my chocolate level. I'm just kidding, kids. We're grateful for absolutely everything that you can donate, and we know that it's tough times for everyone. So when you make time and have a little something for us, we are very, very, very grateful. And finally, we've got that smooth, sleek, and styling quality Eager Beaver merch that you love, that you clamor for, that you've asked for. We've delivered it to you in sizes small to 3XL, something for literally everybody at crier.co/crier-media-shop. Then click on the links to True North Eager Beaver, and you will find Mr. Grizzly Civics tees and Eager Beaver tees in a whole bunch of designs ready for you to put on your body and let people know that you are sexy, attractive, engaged, and you have one more day to boost your romantic energy by 18.4%. 2 if you include tomorrow. So,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Tomorrow's greeting card day, isn't it?
yes, happy VD. It's coming. There's cream for it too, as in cream-filled chocolates. From the Beaver Lodge.
I'm not going to put up Rihanna's chocolates. Rhiannon's chocolates.
Oh, Rihanna. Yes, I saw your chocolates.
No,
I love your
Rhiannon.
Rhiannon. It's like, I have like sitting there like, you know those Tootsie Pop commercials? How many licks does it take to get?
Yeah.
How
All
many
right,
licks
stop.
does it
Stop.
take to get to the middle of it?
Stop it. Stop
From
it.
the Beaver. Oh, come on. Who doesn't love a good Tootsie Pop?
Wasn't that a
From the Beaver
Little
Lodge.
Kim song? Little
That's
Kim
it.
had a song like that back in the 90s, I think.
Yes.
How many
yes.
licks?
Yes. How many licks does it take to get to the middle of it?
But it wasn't a Tootsie Pop.
No.
Oh, hey, Leanne. How you doing? I am Batman.
Because there was also that other song by Rula. I don't think it made the radio, but it was popular in the clubs called Lick It. You gotta lick it before we kick it.
Oh, that, remember. I have the 12-inch back there on the shelf somewhere.
Yep. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there. So please, pretty please, with sugar on top, be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, I know I can tell by the look in your eye that you have some words of wisdom for us.
Yeah. It's no secret I've been struggling in the last few days with my mental health.
Yes,
so I do want to let everybody know that, I'm fine. I'll get through it. I'll be, it's a tough road to hoe right now, but every day above ground is a good day. No matter how bad you think it is, you're still above ground. I'm not pushing up daisies yet. So as far as I'm concerned, even though I'm having a tough time, I'm still having a good day because I'm above ground. And that's all that really matters today.
Yeah. And you know what? You know that with me, if ever you need some time, you take time and the health.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
But
it's just therapeutic for me.
I appreciate that you show up.
Oh,
I just want you to know. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate that you show up.
Thanks.
So, but you know that if ever you need time, health comes first because I want you here for the long haul.
Yeah, me too. But
it means I need to be without you for a couple of days. I'm going to do that, right?
No,
so
this is therapeutic for me. This helps me, believe it.
Okay.
It helps me get through because it gives me something to look forward to. So yeah, this is more therapy than you'll ever know.
Okay, good. Because I'm pretty sure I can speak for all the kids here saying that we very much care about you and we want you to be at your best as often as possible. So
Thanks.
we are more than happy to do without our daily dose of Paul if that allows us to have more of you over the long run.
I'm good.
Yeah.
If I have to take time, I'll let you know. But I'm good for now. I'll stick it out because plowing through, working through, meditating, changing the diet, eliminating alcohol. Weird thing though, I've been craving chocolate lately, so there's something funny going on with my head because I'm not a sweets guy. For some reason, I just want to eat all the chocolate. So maybe I'm pregnant.
Oh, maybe, or
No,
maybe a way
that's
to
not
replace
possible.
alcohol, sugar.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that might be it because there's no alcohol in my diet right now. So yeah, could be. Yeah,
Could be because you're not a big sugar eater to begin with.
yeah. So there's no carbs really in the diet for the most part. So maybe that's why I'm craving chocolate all of a sudden. Could be.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Grizzly. I'm sending you good vibes for so that
Thanks.
you're on the up climb, and please roll them credits.
I'm going to do that right now.
Saucy goes, no, you're.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.